We now enter the public comment portion of our meeting. In essence, this is something that we provide for because we like to hear your comments and feedback. It's not something that we're obligated to do. Sometimes it hurts, but most often it's productive, and we appreciate your willingness, some of you, to come back time and time again. So we have familiar faces that have become friends through many conversations in this format. We do invite all of you, as you turned in your form, you'll know that there's the bottom portion that you keep that outlines the guidelines for speakers. We would invite you to review that. We will hold to the 2 minutes that we've allotted today. So if you get, when you hear that beeper go at 15, the first time you hear it signal, that means you've got 15 seconds. Please, in fairness to others, and we've got a number of speakers today, we would invite you to be prepared to wrap up within that remaining 15 seconds. And please don't have your feelings hurt if you go past and I exercise the privilege of this little wood mallet that sounds kind of loud on the block up here. So with that, we will invite Lisa Donaldson to come forward today. She's representing herself. She didn't check a box, but I assume you'd like to speak. Come forward. Please state your name and your area of residence for the record.
I have handouts also.
Thank you.
My name is Lisa Donaldson. I live in Laveen, Arizona, and I wanted to speak on behalf of some improvements in animal care and control related to the return to owner rates. So that cute little dog that was here this morning that didn't get returned to her owner is unfortunately a very common issue. And one of my questions is, are the statistics available to the public of what the return to owner rates are? Because I've kind of scoured the website and I have not been able to find those. But based on my personal experience living in Laveen, we have a lot of lost and found pets that are not getting reunited. So that is, knowing the statistics would be a helpful first step. But I also do have some specific recommendations that I think would be easy and inexpensive to implement at the county shelter. One of them, if you guys have been to the West Shelter, there's a sink in an area with binders where people can put lost and found flyers. There's not a sign over that area. If you don't know what you're looking for, the public could easily skip over that, but it could definitely be a source of additional support for people with lost or found pets. Another suggestion is to list a couple additional websites on the new website, on the improved website. There's some public websites that have a lot of good lost and found tips that the general public is unaware of. And if we could list those on the website, it would help close the gap between the public that has missing dogs and help get more animals home. And then my final recommendation is if Animal Care and Control can consider partnering with some groups such as Lost Dogs Arizona or the Missing Pet Partnership to come up with additional lost and found tips and support for the public. Okay,
Thank you, Ms. Donaldson. We appreciate your feedback. As you noted on the speaker form, we're not able to comment, but we'll, I see Dr. Silva back there. He's nodding his head, and Mr. Manis, our county manager, and we'll.
And 2 minutes.
You did marvelous. Thank you. Ms. Julie Hughes, if you'd please come forward. Mr. Bufford, you're on deck.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Julie Hughes. I live in Goodyear, Arizona. And as of last May, I retired after 30 years of teaching. So if you'll all slouch down a little, I'd feel a lot less nervous. And if you talk, I will call you down. I've, as I said, been retired about 4 months now, and I had no idea what kind of situation there was at county with so many dogs being put down. I was living in blissful ignorance. Unfortunately, I'm not there anymore, so I've become a animal advocate. So I just wanted to relay an experience that happened with me. On September 13, a neighbor asked for my help in finding a dog for her grandfather. He wanted an older, medium-sized dog. I looked at West's E-list and found several for her. She picked A3508464, which was a male 6-year-old shepherd mix labeled behavior fear. She thought this dog would be a good fit for her grandfather since he lived alone with no other animals. I posted on Friends of Arizona's Shelter Animals that I needed a pull for the dog. Eloise Prevost from Dog Love Rescue called the kennel and confirmed that the dog needed a pull for an adopter on September 14. I told my neighbor to go to the shelter at 11 o'clock on September 14 so she could adopt the dog she'd picked. She said she would and thanked me for my help. The next morning, while reading the e-list updates on Friends of Arizona's Shelter Animals site, I saw that the dog had been put to death. I called the business office and was told that there was no note verifying the pull that Eloise Prevost had called in. Also, that a rescue group had pulled this dog 3 times but hadn't come for him, so maybe that's why the pull wasn't honored. I was also told that usually if someone calls with a possible adopter, the shelter would pull again. I followed up by calling Eloise myself, and she confirmed she had confirmed that the dog would be pulled. So I had to tell my neighbor who had picked this dog out with full faith of getting it that the dog had been killed.
Thank you for those comments. Mr. Bufford, thank you again for that invocation.
Thank you, sir, and thanks for allowing me to do that. I had a person that messaged me just a minute ago asking if I would fill out a speaker's form for him, but I suppose that's against the rules even if he walks in a couple of minutes because of we've already started it. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so there's 10 seconds to ask that. I better get going.
We'll give you 10 seconds extra.
Oh, okay. The last time I was here, I was talking about the owner surrender policy, and I was asking about the laws and wishing that a owner surrendered, just like if I surrendered my car to a salvage yard or anything like that, I can't just say I'm the owner. I have to show a registration or a title. I have to prove it. Was that looked into? Are you able to answer?
We are not able to answer,
Okay.
but I am under the understanding that that is being looked into.
Okay, it is hard to find because it's not necessarily written as a state statute per se, but it's in the very first thing that's the definitions. And the definitions say that if you keep an animal other than livestock, that you are considered the owner. And that's where all that comes from. And then on the MCACC website, you'll notice that for a long time they've had something on there that says, if you keep the dog for 6 days, then you are legally the owner. So the thing is that the process should require proof of ownership and not have somebody be able to come in and say that they're the owner. Maybe they picked up a dog that they got tired of hearing barking and brought it in and said, I'm the owner. Any number of things could happen. But there's a big difference because the law provides 72 hours of being held for the owner to find it for a stray dog, and an owner does not have that type of protection. So I would hope that they would, if the policy isn't already that they would change it. And even if they said, have you had the dog over 6 days, that they would not put it down as an owner surrender, which again would remove those 72 hours. Oh my goodness. I'd like to point out that they're closed on Sundays. I was told several times that the weekends were the best times for adoptions, and I hope somebody can look into why there has to be a Sunday per month. And I don't understand how the public could possibly be informed well about that Sunday. Also, just lastly, I'd like to really encourage the board to consider a marketing department. I know darn well there's a great public information officer and PR person there. But I was a marketing teacher for 35 years. That's one element of marketing. There are many more elements of marketing. Maybe it's not in the budget, but boy, a really great marketing system throughout the valley just might do a lot to move more product. In other words, save more lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bufford. Maybe give your resume to the clerk if you would. Second career. All right, Ms. Hendricks, if you'd please come forward. Welcome this morning.
Thank you for hearing me, members of the board, Mr. Chairman. My name is Lisa Hendricks. I'm a resident of Glendale, and I am also concerned about the process of surrendering animals at MCACC. My concern comes from a specific anecdote. I don't know the people's last names. I'm working on that. A man named Michael and a woman named April got a divorce, and they were not very amicable in their divorcing. And Michael took the family pet to the MCACC and claimed to be the owner, and it was put to sleep immediately. April said, "Where's my dog?" And he wasn't there anymore. So I think that it is a problem. This is what Mr. Bufford was saying. I think it is a problem if they don't have to prove that they have the right to put that animal to death, okay? The other thing is, If somebody finds a lost animal and they say, well, I really want to find the owner, I want to put up flyers, I want to call around, I want to ask the neighbors, that kind of stuff. If they do that for longer than 6 days, they're suddenly the owner. Now, I don't mind becoming the owner of a stray animal. I mean, I have 5 of them myself, but the problem is that then when they take them to the pound, if they have to surrender them for other reasons, then they're considered the owner, and the animal's not given the same consideration as a stray animal that's brought in. Even if it's perfectly adoptable, perfectly nice animal, they say, well, you're the owner and you're surrendering it, therefore, we're not going to give it any time. We're not going to find an owner for it. We're not going to put it up for adoption. It's gone. So I think that's a real problem. And when someone can just come in and say they're the owner and they don't actually have to prove anything, and the animal is killed, I think that's a serious problem. I don't know what the solution is, but I do like the analogy that Ed gave about having to give a title and say, this is my car, I want it destroyed, but this is the proof that it's my car, okay? I think we can only do that much for living beings.
Thank you, Ms. Hendricks.
Sure.
Ms. Manis?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name's Trish Manis, and I'm the president of Maricopa County. One of the most overlooked areas for reducing killing in animal control shelters is lost animal reclaims. Shifting from a passive to a more proactive approach has allowed shelters to return a large percentage of lost animals to their families. A proactive effort to ensure that lost animals are reclaimed has led to stray redemption rates in Reno, Nevada, that are 7 times greater than the national average for cats and over 3 times the average for dogs. Over 60% of stray dogs are being reclaimed by their families because the agency has invested in efforts to get more animals home. This compares to the national average of roughly 20% and less than 10% for poorly performing communities. Annually, MCACC only returns between 8 to 10% of lost animals to their owners. There's significant room for improvement. Maricopa County is proud to announce to you a microchip fundraising campaign that we are launching as a way to help MCACC increase pet redemptions. Our goal is to raise the funds to offer free microchips for all shelter animals at MCACC, as well as to pet owners in Maricopa County for 1 year. We want to help MCACC shift from a passive to a more proactive approach that will help them to return a larger percentage of lost animals to their families. Proactively returning lost pets will help reduce shelter impounds, which will reduce the cost of care, killing, and disposal. It is a classic win-win for the animals, for animal owners, for community businesses, and for taxpayers. We look forward to working with you on making this a very successful campaign for Maricopa County. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Prevost. Good morning, Eloise.
Good morning. I had to.
You have a
bring
guest
one
with
of
you
my
today.
friends with me today. This is Trio S5 behavior other. I don't see any other.
That's because he has cool shoes on.
Because of his shoes, his clothes. But I did bring in some papers. One is, like I did last time, a pre-euthanasia report. Just the cover page of a particular dog that I was working with. It took me 15 minutes to take this dog out of the kennel. This is S5 temp human. This dog would have died there. I had him out in 15 minutes. I'm getting kisses. It's fun. And I just want to leave that with you, that thought and these papers here. This happens all the time. You know, that we see dogs that I look at them in the evening. I'm up till sometimes 1 or 2 in the morning trying to pull dogs off the euthanasia list and save them. And then sometimes I go down there to evaluate them myself. And hopefully, I have a positive outcome. I try and ask for the label to be changed, and they kind of like to stay with their label. They don't really want to change it because those are the behaviors that the shelter saw, but the dogs are under stressful situations, so therefore things aren't always accurate. And I've tried to ask kennel supervisor to allow me to see how the dogs are evaluated so that I can learn from the experience and hopefully help myself in trying to see whether dogs are actually fitting the labels or not. And I left 3 voicemails, did not get any response back. 4th phone call, I did get a response back, but nothing was set up. I just got kind of pushed off to the side. I'm still waiting. All right, thank you very much. If these
Eloise,
could be
thank
given
you.
to the board.
Please,
and
again,
members.
we can't comment specifically,
Yes,
but
yes.
you're making a difference. Don't give up.
Oh, thank you, I appreciate it.
Ms. Deborah Faust. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Well, no, not yet. I'm going to wait till I get home and find out what dogs I was trying to save last night might be dead. So I can't say it's a good morning. I'm a cross poster. My name's Debbie Terrace Faust. I'm a cross poster. I stay up late hours posting dogs, showing pictures of these dogs, sharing, trying to get them saved. Here's some pictures for each one of you. The first one, you'll see it looks like a service dog. It has a harness. It looks, and the first picture shows everything. It was picked up on 4/19 as a stray. It was killed 4/24. My father had passed away, so I wasn't involved. Otherwise, I would have been calling every service industry I know to see if I could get them to help us pull that dog. The next 2 pictures is another dog. This one was a 1-year-old brindle pit bull mix. Fear. It was scared. Well, that bin it is in, I've been told, is used to carry the dead bodies out. And I have a dog that I came home, and she had a sister that I had to put down. And when I walked in that door, that dog shaked with fear because she knew the smell was death and that her sister was gone. So dogs know it. They smell it. They feel it. And the next picture, they said it was behavior was fear. The next picture is that dog in its kennel a couple hours later, probably. Well, that dog was put down. The next picture is an owner surrender, which is exactly what we're kind of talking about. The dog was dropped off on 9/5. It was fearful. Basically, I have on the back of these pictures for you to see what happened to these dogs. Some I don't know. I'll send you an email later on today and tell you what actually transpired. And
Thank
thank you for your time.
Thank you, Deborah. Ms. Hamilton, Marcia Hamilton? Welcome back. Thank you for being here. Mr. Gary Hamilton.
Mr. Chairman and board members, I'm here to present a letter from, I'm a Phoenix resident. I'm here to present a letter from Laura Marlowe. She's a Phoenix resident also. Information is on the bottom of the letter I can hand out. Labeling a dog as either aggressive or frightened is a death sentence that should not be wielded as casually as it currently is in the Maricopa County animal facilities. A dog abandoned, lost, or discarded out on the streets is going to be scared. He's going to be even more scared and perhaps feel attacked when he is cornered and caught and put in a truck or cage and taken to a cement and steel facility, put in a cage where he can hear and smell many other frightened dogs. I feel it is impossible to correctly assess a dog in an animal care cage kennel. If you put me in a cage or a kennel with just a towel and a bowl of water and I didn't know where my family was or where I was or what had happened, I'd be terrified and probably very angry as well. No one knows what has happened to these dogs, and unless they are given some kind of safe, comfortable space with a little bit of human love and attention, there is no way to accurately assess their personality and determine if there is any risk to humans. A poodle could be vicious if scared and abused, but because big dog breeds can do more damage and seem more threatening than small dogs, they get labeled aggressive far more often. On the other hand, small dogs can be labeled as frightened when they aren't really that way. They are just frightened due to circumstances, being caged, etc. One of my dogs was E-listed due to being scared. She was scared and completely timid in a cage. It still freaks her out, but outside of a cage, she's an outgoing, playful, Loving dog who's great with all other dogs, with kids, with people. She's overly affectionate, if anything. Sentencing her to be euthanized because she was frightened from her whole ordeal, being found on the streets and put in a cage, is just wrong. Real evaluations done in a more natural setting with trained people who are going to make sure the dog doesn't feel caged or threatened is the only way to see if the dog is really a threat or not. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that, those comments, Mr. Hamilton. Shay Pendleton. Ms. Pendleton. Welcome back.
Hi, good morning.
You can put that down if you'd like, if it's.
I might be a little loud. Okay. All right, my issue is with the MCACC facilities, the lost and found particularly. It's come to my attention that many dogs that get transported to East and West facilities are often identified and eventually claimed by the owner via social media. I've heard of owners being called while they were waiting to pick up their pet. If we as the public can locate owners this swiftly by simply posting on the internet, why is it that the county shelters take so much longer to contact the owner? I think the excuse that the chip information was outdated is an excuse to facilitate a lazy organization. There are inexpensive computer programs that can be utilized to locate owners and or their family members. Reuniting these strays by using simple technology would reduce many deaths. I know that if Maricopa County converted to a no-kill agenda, so many counties in the nation have already implemented, the shelters would gain numerous volunteers. As pet lovers, we do not want to volunteer if we know that death is imminent for many of these animals. You, as the Board of Supervisors, have the ability to turn this county into no-kill. Please consider making this happen. You were all given a book written by Nathan Winograd. I hope you all got a chance to look through it or hopefully read it. And this is all up to you. Make a difference.
Thank you, Ms. Pendleton. Lastly, we have Sarah Beth Truscott, who's here just to register in favor of the no-kill Maricopa County. So thank you for being here today. With that, I don't think we have any additional speaker forms that were turned in before the public forum began, so we'll turn to the supervisors. Any comments from the board this morning? Supervisor Chu?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I just want to discuss something you and I discussed a few weeks back, and that is this philosophy and this idea that this new board has embraced, and that is to try and bring private sector principles to government. The notion, the idea that you can run government like a business is probably not true, but without any doubt, or I should say that you can't run government like a business, but without any doubt, you can certainly apply principles. And I think we've seen that through our EROP process. I think we've seen that as we go department by department, and we've gone into being able to not only revitalize with new ideas and concepts, as we saw in Phoenix and opening that kiosk next to them with planning development, but we've done it across the board, and now we're doing it with animal care and control. And I think what we need to focus on, and I want to applaud our county manager, Tom Manos, is that we do need some work here. I'm not talking about the no-kill movement. I'm not talking about certain specifics, but what I am talking about is customer service. What I am talking about is being a responsible government. And I think there's improvement that needs to be done. And I know that there's stakeholder processes scheduled. I know that Dr. Silva is working with our county manager. But I also want to know, I want to at least express and convey, as you and I have discussed as vice chair and chairman, that this is not going unnoticed. If we sit up here as the Board of Supervisors, I think it's a proud honor, but let's not forget, we're also Board of Directors. And this has spilled over to us. And I want to make that publicly known, and I want everyone to know that this isn't pointing fingers, but it's acknowledging a fact that is clear and evident to me. And that as we move forward, I'm optimistic that the same principles that we've applied in this new board the past almost 2 years now will be applied countywide in all of our departments moving forward, including animal care and control. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Chukri. Any other comments? Mr. Manis, do you have anything to add today?
Thank you.
To that end, we know you have been anxiously engaged in process improvements and different things that we've been able to discuss together, and so we appreciate that efforts. And frankly, as a board, there's, Andy's been here a long time, and he's seen a lot of things come and go. The rest of us this is a new engagement, and we take it seriously, and we appreciate the opportunity to learn from Andy and to learn from Tom and so many others that have been here a long time. And there is work to be done, and we're excited to be part of it. So thank you to everybody here, to staff that comes and suffers through these meetings often. We appreciate you being here, and we know that much of the good that happens is because of you and your leadership and your willingness to engage and to be innovative, and we recognize that and we appreciate that.
So you can all go pick up your 3 dogs and do your part. How's that?
And with that, did you have to do that?
Sorry.
All right, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're adjourned. Thank you.